we doing, people? Sorry, had to let Maddie out. She was like just had to go out. She's getting old. 9, can't hold her pee pee. Like I get up 3 or 4 times a night. It's ridiculous. Like an old man, I can't take it anymore. I get one ear hair. My daughter like picks it. I wake up in the morning. There's this one ear long nose hair hanging. I can't. I can't deal with it. Can't do it. Can't do it. What's up, people? Oh, baby. Do you see this? Yes. It's impossible to record Pac-Man throughout the day. He stops and starts, stops and starts, stops and starts all day. It's unbelievable. Thank God I have my mods, my friends in the Discord, that I had to drive home real quick to get the last part, because if we miss the last part, I couldn't show it. So I'm going to smooth in with a little Stevens, and then we're going to rock and roll with Pac-Man. It is a phenomenal child support. A doucher. King doucher, the father. Objection, objection, objection. Hearsay, irrelevant. You're going to hear that the entire time, and you're going to love it. I promise. So let's get a little Stevens. You tried to tell me where this analogy came from. It is awful. This defense attorney is usually pretty good with Stevens, but Judge Stevens, it's way over his head. He has no idea what they're talking about. Let's roll.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Show you a connection is this. And here's the point that I'm making. A lot of times people in their young ages really make some bad decisions. You're familiar with the situation right now with John Morant. I'm using him as an example. You have a professional basketball player, $200 million contract. He got caught with a gun in the club, right? They let him make it. And then just recently he has a gun in the car with him, and he's 23 years old. Now you might say, well, Langston, what's the point that I'm making? And here's the point that I'm making. A lot of times people in their young ages really make some bad decisions. And in the case of Ja, you talking about a man has a $230 million contract and can potentially throw that away. In this case, my analogy to my client, I'm gonna show you the connection is this. What I suspect, Judge, in the case of Ja, the reason that this multi-millionaire is probably making bad decisions is that he didn't really have guidance in his life, and he didn't have the support that he needed. In my client's case, and he'll tell you, hey, was your dad involved in your life?
No, sir.
Did your dad go to prison?
Yes, sir.
So with you growing up, you really didn't necessarily have a positive influence, did you?
No, sir.
And
My mom.
and with you getting in trouble right now, I know it, and Judge asked us to respond to this prior sentence where it said that, hey, you had continued to commit crimes. When that guy got beat up, I'm gonna use the word beat up.
Yes, sir.
Clearly he was hurt bad, right?
Yes, sir.
Clearly he had to go to the hospital for his life, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you saw him, did you have empathy and compassion?
It hurt because that's my friend.
That's your friend.
We don't have no conflict with each other. It was just a heat of the moment thing. Like
Right,
he had an argument and a disagreement with me and a group of people that I was with,
right.
and it began that way. But I never intended for him to be
Hurt
fighting
that
for
bad.
his life. I
Right.
never had any problems with him prior to that. To this, as I included in the pre-sentence investigation, when a lady came and seen me, I said I
Right.
wish to get in contact with him if I could, and he knows because he would be able to, if he was here today, he would tell y'all like me and him never had problems. It was just an argument
They got out of hand.
of a recent deceased friend of ours.
Mhm.
What's Steven's eating? I would love to know. Chat, let's take a guess on what he's eating. I'm saying pistachios. That he had his court clerk take the shells off. There's like 50 of them, and he's got to keep them coming. Every time he stops the court, it's because he needs more pistachios. Give me my pistachios.
And it got out of hand.
Right.
That's like he was one of a close friend of me, a real close friend of me.
So the question I'm getting to, the judge wanted me to kind of respond to where it's headed in the report.
So John Morant is a basketball star, and he plays on the Memphis Grizzlies, and he's the next biggest thing, supposed to be like Kobe Bryant and Jordan, LeBron, and he's a preppy that was raised right, but he tries to act like a thug. So Langston is trying to say that this kid doesn't have any advantages and he acts like a thug. So I don't understand where the analogy is, because John Morant had everything growing up. He's not a thug. So I thought this kid was like from a prep school or something like that, but it wasn't. It was like, then the kid's a thug. So I don't see the analogy. So I think Langston's just hoping that Judge Stevens just thinks he's a basketball player or a sports player and he's a thug. But the whole thing with John Morant is that he's from money and a preppy. So that's now if you guys get it. Awful analogy. Awful.
About you continuing to commit crime.
They're all thugs.
And I guess what I'm saying is that I'm sorry. Thanks. Keep going. I guess what I'm saying is that apparently Ja Morant, and I used him as the analogy, he didn't get the wake-up call when he got caught with the gun and having a $200-some million contract. That wasn't a wake-up for him. But in this particular case, where you have a friend who was hurt real bad, has this been a wake-up call for you?
Yes, sir. It's been a real wake-up call for me. I recently lost two siblings, a sister,
Right.
my older brother, while I've been incarcerated.
And here's what we asking judge is that unlike in Josh's situation where later on he's found with a gun again, in your situation, are you telling that judge, hey judge, I won't be in your courtroom
He
again
never see my face.
if you give me probation? And then another good thing.
Wait a second, hold on, I'm sorry.
Hmm.
He was put on
No, he said he got
probation
back.
as a juvenile
Yeah, sir.
and
Right.
for, let's see, how many times? Let's see, I see one,
Twice.
2018. Two in 2018. Evading arrest and detention in Harris County,
No, sir. It was
12 months adjudicated probation. That was regular probation.
Yes, sir.
Well, what he
So he's been on probation 3 separate times,
Yes, sir.
right? And this was committed, let's see, hold on here, 12 months adjudicated. So this was committed after he had been on probation for 3 different offenses. Certainly, anybody with a brain,
Yes, sir.
half a brain,
Yes, sir.
would know that criminality has consequences and people take it seriously.
Yes, sir.
Well, I know, but the point is after all of that, you beat a man senseless to where he almost died.
correct. And just reason why he was asking for the
Well, the
probation.
point being is, really, you hadn't figured that out yet?
I
that
have.
were serious about following the rules?
No, yes, sir, and I have, and
No. After 3 times being brought through court proceedings, you go back a 4th time and almost kill somebody.
yes, sir. When I take full responsibility.
You're
for what I did.
going to.
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yeah, that's why we're here, is to hold people responsible.
Yes, sir.
He's talking about this guy with a lot of money. I know a lot of people who make stupid decisions, but they're rich,
Yes, sir.
especially entertainers or athletes.
Crappy analogy.
Nobody says that so they can throw 100 miles an hour or you shoot 30-foot jump shots all day long.
Yes, sir.
But that doesn't,
So stupid.
that's, I just don't think that's going to be following the rules, which is live honestly, harm no one, give each person their due respect.
Yes, sir.
Those are the 3 basic rules.
I learned a lot being incarcerated, though, sir, for these past 4 months.
Okay.
I really have, and I'm just asking for probation
What?
to give a chance to myself. Then
What did you learn in jail that you didn't learn by 3 prior probations?
I've just
What
learned
is
that.
it, you just want to be free is what you want.
No, it's not just about being free, Mr.
Well,
Stevens.
what is it you
I
learned?
lost a lot of family members while I've been here. I lost a younger sister who was 3 years old. I lost a brother who was 14.
Well, you don't think life goes on when you're in custody?
It does.
It does,
Okay.
and part of life is death.
Yes, sir.
When you're in custody, things are going to happen, and you're not going to get to go.
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean that doesn't take that doesn't take a 1 day of incarceration to learn.
And Judge, if you just give him this one chance, the big stick is that if he's on deferred and he violates, he's looking at the full range of punishment. And that's a huge stick of up to 20 years in prison. And what he's telling me and what he's telling you today is that if you give him this shot, how old are you again?
I'm 19.
19,
yeah, 19.
Just 19. That instead of sending him to the pen, and then he can also pay the restitution to the guy for any
Yes,
and all
sir.
the injuries and make him work, Judge, make him work, have to go get a job, pay the guy back
Thank you,
for
Rick.
medical bills and any other bills that he
3
has
months.
associated with that. He's willing
Wow.
to do that. And he's
getting
saying
old.
that, hey, Judge, I'm not gonna be back in your courtroom
Getting old
no
on
matter
the
what.
tube.
I mean, I think that's what he's saying. Are you saying that?
So I'm saying that
Well, he didn't say that to the 3 previous judges.
actually, sir, when I called my first probation sentencing, I called probation for a group of people. A group of people got caught with marijuana at my middle school, and I took the fall. And
So
I,
you
and I
lied?
Elizabeth.
no, sir, no, I didn't lie. I was a part of that group of
Welcome.
people, and I
Okay.
and
Then you ought to be held responsible.
no, yes, sir, and I should, and I deserve to be here responsible. That's why when he gave me probation, I completed it. As he can tell you in my PSI, I didn't violate probation. I did everything I needed to do. I don't do drugs. I'm
What
not.
about the other probations?
I completed.
Yeah,
all
right.
I
I
completed.
know, why do you keep getting on probation?
I got probation just from
Generally,
prior
people
mistakes that
shouldn't
I made as a child.
Generally, after the first probation, people get it.
Yes,
They
sir.
figure it out.
I was only a child though, Mr. Stevens.
Well, I'm sorry,
And I'm still young.
you don't
but
know-
I'm learning.
you don't know right from
I
wrong
do.
when it comes to beating somebody
No,
almost to death.
Yeah, no, I do, and I was wrong for that. I
You don't
was
know right
severely
from wrong?
for that.
Nobody ever told you that drugs were illegal? We learned that early.
No, I learned from my father being
okay.
incarcerated for
All
drug
right.
abuse.
Let's see, what about evading arrest or detention? That means you ran from police. You didn't know that was the wrong thing to
No,
do?
I did.
Okay, so
the
you
first
knew
time I got-
better.
Yes, sir. I will.
Anything state wants to say?
Judge, this beating occurred at about 2:52 a.m. in the morning. And this so-called friend of the defendants, who he's so worried about, was left laying there until 8 o'clock, about 7:44 a.m. the next morning, when he was discovered almost dead from the beating that 3 people gave him, including
Yo,
this
Five
defendant.
prime time. Thank you.
This gentleman had to lay there
Great.
alone, suffering until 8 o'clock in the morning from the
Down payment for DeSanto's engagement ring. She doesn't care. Our love goes far beyond material possessions. She'd be happy with a lifesaver gummy ring. We have something special.
injuries that were given by this gentleman and a couple of other people. And I use the word gentleman loosely.
Ooh.
I've given a consideration of his age and his lack of adult criminal history in my offer, But I don't think he walks out of here because this gentleman almost didn't walk out of here with his life. If he'd have shot him, he'd have been probably in better shape than he was when he got stopped. And the pain that he went through waiting for someone to find him instead of this gentleman calling the police or somebody, an ambulance to come help his friend out. We would ask for the 10 years prison time. I think it's fair. I think it's a sentence that meets the crime.
Okay.
He's
Anything
done.
else you want to end with? Yes, sir.
Judge, the thing that I want to end with, Judge, is this. He's 19 years old. He's accepted responsibility. I know like the federal courts, a big thing is acceptance of responsibility. He's accepting his responsibility. I think he's saying that this is the wake-up call that he needed. And, you know, a friend, I think, if they were to see each other, they would reconcile. I mean, would you think so?
Yes, sir. That's one of my friends that I hung with on a day-to-day basis every day. If you were to have any contact with him, he would tell you the same thing, that it was just a mishap that got out of hand. We had just lost a friend due to gun violence, and he brought up the situation. And the two people that I was with had a problem with it. And he chose to have a problem with all three of us, which it's still bad for what we did. We shouldn't have beat him.
Who cleaned up that mess that you made? You walked away and left him to die.
But see, if you go look
And
at
you
the
just
camera,
interrupted me.
yes, sir. I apologize.
You'll never follow rules, will you? It's got to be your way.
No, sir. It's your way. It's your way.
Are you finished? Now can I speak?
Yes, sir. I apologize.
You left him to die. You don't think this is in a public place. You don't think that's something to do with the decency of our community? Beat somebody almost to death and let somebody else have to come along and fix the situation and save the person's life? Not you, who was responsible for it in the first place.
Yes, sir.
Don't say it's just between him and me. When you leave somebody to die in the public, somebody else took care of that person.
Yes, sir.
And the community got involved. And then how many people want to come live here when they go, oh, you got kids laying almost dead in the streets because they get beaten up by their friends? What a community.
Yes, sir.
You think that brings people in
No, sir.
and embraces folks who want to come live here in an area that's supposed to be decent? It's supposed to be. Well, you're not helping.
Yes, sir.
And Judge just said, I mean, is there anything else that you wanted to say? And so here's our last opportunity before Judge makes his decision. So I don't want to put any words in your mouth. I just want you to begin by saying, Judge, please give me probation.
You're putting words in his mouth.
Well, no, please. But I'm just please. I'm let him finish the sentence. Please give me probation, and here's the reason why. And you say you complete that sentence.
Judge Stevens, if you give me probation today, I can show you that I've not only grown into a man, that I'm not only realized that the stuff that I did was really, really negative and it impacted a lot of people. But if you give me probation, I can show you that I'm not going to make the same mistakes. That I do want to work. I want to pay off restitution, whatever I need to do to show that I'm growing. Because that's all I'm trying to do is grow and have a better future for myself. I understand that
Well, what about for everybody else
not just
who are supposed to be friends?
Yes, sir. That's why I said I would pay restitution and deal
That doesn't fix. You just don't throw money at somebody and
Yes,
fix it, especially if they have brain damage.
Yes, sir.
See, that's not, you're saying you matured. That's not mature thought. You just can't throw money and rub it on the wound and it's going to miraculously heal up.
Yes, sir.
As many times as you've been dealt with by law enforcement, you had to know that leaving somebody to die was going to hold you answerable and everybody else.
Yes.
It falls down to just plain decency. And to tell me that you've matured while in prison or in a jail facility,
Yes, sir.
uh, that's not an environment where you're going to learn all the rules of life, of living decently and appreciative with each other.
4
Yes, sir.
times 5.
If that was true, we wouldn't send people to school and to church. We'd send them to jail.
This is a daylight case extraordinaire. He can't wait to hear this sentence. He's chomping
Yes, sir.
at the bit. I know you, Daylight. He's dying.
Let me look at one thing.
Rick too. What up, Rick? Rick's Mr. Comment. I always laugh at his comments. Always. Here we go. What's up, Basia? Peach. Marky boy. What up, Lynn? All right. Trickling in. Here we go. I want blood. Definitely. Yeah, Lucy, I heard. I was so attached to Bryant and Pac-Man today. Tick, tick, tick. Stevens is doing the math. 4 times 5 equals. Carry the 1. My mouth is really salty from those pistachios. I'll be dead by the time this kid gets out. I'll be long gone. Chewing again?
Well, you can't do it.
Oh,
No, sir.
Can't do it.
nope.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
All right. If there's nothing further, I'm going to find here, Mr. Watson, you have pleaded guilty voluntarily. You were mentally competent to do so. You understand the consequences of pleading guilty.
Yes, sir.
There's sufficient evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yes,
How much time was it after credit? How long have you been in jail?
Since February 14th.
Mark! Reigning memberships. Grab it.
This year, right?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Mark.
Okay.
The sativa is
There
kicking
isn't
in.
enough evidence supporting your guilty plea to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I am following this agreement. And you are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 5 years.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
There is an affirmative finding that a deadly weapon, your hands and feet, were used in the commission of this offense. That will be an affirmative finding in the judgment in this case. Unfortunately, shock probation is not allowed for this type of offense, which
Attempted
would,
murder.
the court would have leaned toward granting if you wouldn't have if it wouldn't have been aggravated in the nature of the commission of the crime. Otherwise, and that's why they call it aggravated, because it is more serious than would normally be dealt with. And you, by your previous criminal history and involvement in the system, knew that those kinds of mistakes have consequences.
Yes, sir.
I hope that matures you. I hope that helps mature you. Anything else? That is.
I was thinking more. I didn't watch this one. I saw the beginning.
All
and
right,
I
what
didn't
else
watch
did you
the
have,
end.
Langston?
All right, here we
I
go.
think this
Little warm up. Here we go. What we've all been waiting for. This one is unreal. All right, so I'm just gonna warn you. There's not a lot of skipping at all. It's not sped up. There's transitions. I edited it as best I could. You have to remember I'm working as well. Thanks to Monica and Kitch for part 4. The last part, they got it in full for me. And all of the most important parts are here. I would not have showed it. So you get the gist of everything. All right. So I'll lay it out for you. Dad is Patrick, biggest douche ever. Thank you, Robert, top nerd. And mom is up at the top, lawyer, and dad is pro se. And we get friends, family members, people on the phone, ex-wives. It is fun. So let's roll.
Address those today for purposes of best interest factor J, but I have you file the parenting time complaint on those.
I have two.
That will be set for as far as a request for her to be held in contempt of court. That will not be done until the friend of the court issues an order to show cause. So when they do that, there will be a separate show cause hearing. But we can certainly consider that under the best interest factors for today's purposes.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. I'm
Awesome.
referee
Thank you.
Pachorka. Are you Robert Mazur?
Yes, sir.
Am I pronouncing your last name correctly?
Yes, actually, oddly enough.
Okay, so and last name is spelled Mazur.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you've been called to testify today by Mr. Reyna, so I'm going to swear you in. If you would
Okay.
please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing
Thank
but
you,
the truth?
Cha.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You can lower your hand.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyna, you can ask your questions now.
Thank you. Mr. Mazur,
Yes.
how long have you known me?
Here we go.
Over 20 years, I believe.
And have you ever been with me on a visit with my two little ones, Mariah and Raylan?
Yes.
Have you ever been with me when my parenting time has been denied by Miss Reyna?
Yes.
Thank you, Evelyn.
Do you feel I'm a threat to you, Mr. Mazur?
No.
When you are with me and my two girls, Mariah and Raylan, for my visitation, did you ever think or feel that my girls were scared or afraid of me during my visitation?
No. They have a great time.
And in the time that you've known me, how many visits have you been present with
Thank
any
you,
of my
Cha.
children?
I don't care. Anything.
2
is
so
great.
far.
Sorry.
Well,
about
with
that.
Mariah and Raylan.
And
Savannah, quite a bit. Kind of
And-
lost count.
how many visits with Savannah would you? Yes, no further questions at the moment, Mr. Mazur. Thank you.
One moment, please. All right, Ms. Neros, you may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Mazur,
Good morning.
good morning. With this latest denial, and I think was it the May 13th visit?
Yeah, this is his witness. It's his friend. But his friend just listened. So it's awful. I don't want to spoil anything.
And the comment about Corey saying that the kids weren't safe, weren't you just arrested for stalking sometime in the last week or two?
Yes, and that is in court right now.
And you're currently out on bond?
Correct.
And that offense was related to stalking your own children and your ex-wife, or maybe not ex-wife, but your ex-wife, Katrina Mazer.
No,
Was it for stalking your children?
one of my children, yes.
Okay, so he's a stalker. He stalks his family. All right? And we get his wife or ex-wife as a witness for mom. So, over the top. Here we go.
And how many children do you have with Miss Mazer?
Oh, not cool with Judge
3.
Manning.
And
I'm gonna
aren't there
email
current PPOs against you for all of those children?
No,
Do you know how many PPOs are out right now?
there's one against my ex-wife and I, thank God. And there's one potentially against my son, but I have a court-appointed attorney and all the evidence is being presented to him on Thursday.
And haven't you followed Miss Reyna on a few occasions?
No,
So you didn't show up to various locations where she was on April 13th, April 16th, and twice on April 12th? Sorry for the out of order, but
where are these locations you're talking about?
on the 12th, I believe at at where? At IMART?
IMART.
IMART,
I go to Sprint there with my phone sometimes to get updates and stuff. If she was in the parking lot, I didn't know anything about it.
and then you didn't shortly follow her to Burger King about 20, 30 minutes later?
Not that I know of, no.
So if there were photos on Ms. Reyna's phone showing you at both of these locations, you would disagree with the truthfulness of the photos?
I have no interest in Mrs. Reyna whatsoever.
Haven't you previously texted Ms. Reyna demanding payment for gas,
Not demanding, no.
What?
asking for gas money?
Asking for monies for wasting my time, because I've been volunteering my time as the driver to try to do the reunification sessions with her children and Mr. Reyna's children, their children, I guess.
Are you aware of any court order or basis to request repayment from Ms. Reyna?
I filed small claims court, yes.
But there's no court order in place that allows you to seek contribution from Ms. Reyna.
There isn't a court order, but there is a verbal agreement between us that she made with Mr. Reyna when she asked to see my driver's license.
You don't need to keep testifying, but you answered the question. Thank you. What do you have for custody of your 3 children? Do you have any parenting time?
I do, but unfortunately, my ex-wife stopped bringing the children, and that is scheduled in court on the 8th of June. She's
Aren't you
being shown
supposed to have supervised visits with 2 counselors?
I was supposed to, yeah.
Okay,
Mrs. Mazer stopped bringing the children. Hence
that's
the
okay. You don't need to keep, you answered the question.
Okay.
I think that those are all the questions I have.
Mr. Reyna, did you have any more questions?
Yes, Mr. Mazer,
Yes.
in my court order that the referee Patorka put in place and modified, does it or does it not say a driver with a valid driver's license?
Yes, you did allow me to read that, yes.
And on the visits to pick up my children, Mariah and Raylan, did Miss Reyna see your driver's license?
Yes,
Did she inspect your vehicle and help put Mariah and Raylan in their car seats?
yes,
And also, Mr. Mazer, you also take time to volunteer your time to help me take care of my errands and stuff, correct?
correct.
And where do we normally travel for errands, Mr. Mazer?
Just based on the testimony recently, we've been to Cricket because I had to upgrade my phone. We went to Burger King and got food. We've been to Walmart. We've been to your jobs, Subways, all over town. Also to Mrs. Gina's house to pick the girls up.
Is it possible that it is pure coincidence that Miss Reyna is present at any of the locations that were mentioned?
I didn't see her. I don't look for her, so
Very
I was
good.
more interested in the chicken sandwich.
Very good. No more further questions at this time.
Ms. Neros, any more questions?
These people are
Just
crazy.
one or two. Mr. Mazer, you testified that you are all over town. So during the 2 visits that you were present for, were you ever at Mr. Reyna's home? Or
Yes.
for about how long?
I try to get there for the visitations around 9 o'clock, so we have time to get everything together, get the car seats in, make sure my car is cleaned out for the girls and stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I meant how, are you at Mr. Reyna's house with the girls during the parenting time visit, not before the visit?
Oh, first time I think we were there for maybe an hour and a half, I suppose, after we went bowling and whatnot. And the second time I had some errands to run, so I literally dropped them off and did my errands, and I came back and picked them up at the appropriate time to take them back to Mrs. Reyna. So I was there for, I don't know, 15 minutes out of the 5 hours maybe. The other 2 times that I was volunteering my time.
That's okay. Thank you. I don't have any other questions for you.
Okay.
Mr. Reyna, did you have any more questions for Mr. Mazer?
Thank you, Sarah.
I don't at the moment. Thank you.
All right.
Oh, that's
Thank you,
great.
Mr. Mazer,
Slow
for your
clap for
time
Sarah.
today. You're excused.
Thank you, sir.
That's great to hear.
All right. Mr. Reyna, did you want to call another witness?
Oh,
Yes,
please.
give me just a moment.
Okay.
Skylar,
And we'll come back in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
Okay, so
Thank you.
stop number 1. Here we go. All right.
Fusion in your name, right?
you.
You were able to do that without a license?
I am.
There's no one else named on the title.
There is. But I accepted full responsibility and the payments on it. So therefore it's solely
You testified though that the car was solely in your name, but it's technically titled in more than one person's name.
that's irrelevant. It's in my name. That's what matters. I make the payments and the other person has nothing to do with it. So
You said, I believe, solely in your name, just to point out the contradiction there.
make payments on it.
I didn't
and I
ask
get
if you're making payments. Thank you.
It is being refinanced, if you really want to know.
I didn't ask about payments, sir. Haven't you relayed to this court, at least in the Spalding case, that
What was your question?
I was getting there. I'm sorry if we cut out for a
Oh.
second. With respect to the driver's license, haven't you relayed to the court that you refused to get your driver's license for over 10 years?
I did until I was ready to want to drive again. And until I was fully done with the partying stage of my life. and I was comfortable that I was able to maintain my sobriety. Therefore, I have maintained my sobriety for 13 plus years. Thank you. To this day.
Nobody asked.
You testified that you are currently working, that you currently have Savannah on. Let me strike that. Do you still have Savannah just on Tuesdays and Fridays through Sundays?
Yes, summertime visitation is going to be established. It is in the court order. If we can't agree to it, then we go back to mediation.
But that's currently what it is, yes.
Yes,
And you testified that you work Friday and Saturdays.
I do.
And does Savannah go to work with you?
Sometimes.
How old is Savannah?
Savannah's 10 years old.
Where is she in the care of someone else? Or who is she in the care with when she's not at work with you?
She is with her other siblings, or she is at her friend's house.
Have you ever had Savannah perform work while with you at Crested Creations?
No.
Okay. But she's,
Objection, Honor.
Here we go.
Overruled.
He has no idea what the objection was. Objection.
sorry, I'm looking over my notes.
I would like to ask what relevancy this has to this case. Can you explain that?
There isn't a question to ask the relevancy about.
Well, what's the relevancy to this case? That case is a different case with my other co-parent, not with Miss Reyna.
I believe the court asked you questions about this order from the Spalding case.
I'm objecting to this because we're not here for my parenting time with Savannah. We're here for my parenting time with Miss Reyna. So objection.
Your objection is preserved for the record should you choose to appeal the eventual order in this case.
Thank you.
Also in that order, again, the March 31st, 2022 referee recommendation and order. You still maintain a friendship with Ms. Garcia, despite the court having found that to cause them to question your judgment.
Objection. What relevance is it to have a friendship with somebody that's not around my daughter? We were friends before anything else. We are still friends. So again, objection. What's the relevancy to my friendship with her outside my parenting time?
It was asked on direct exam from the court.
And I'm saying objection. There's no relevancy to this case.
Everybody done? Sustained.
Brutal. Objection. You have a hot dog neck. Worst Zoom.
I guess I would like to get into
ever.
the dates following the show cause hearing. Because I think you said that there were overall, I wrote down 5 visits. Is that your recollection of your testimony?
3 of them, which I've had, 2 of them were denied. And there's 2 parenting time violations pending.
Welcome. Begin.
But there would have been at least 7 or 8 alternating weekends since that February 16th show cause hearing, right?
They were denied because of them having plans with either a birthday party or grandma on Sunday.
What dates were you denied? And I'm sorry, it wasn't clear earlier.
The first one was supposed to occur after the motion was modified. And because apparent, I don't know the exact, I'd have to look.
So the first visit after the show cause hearing would have been February 25th, 2023. Do you recall sending Corey a text message the day before that you are expecting her to bring the children to your home at 10 a.m. on Saturday?
Yes, I don't recall it.
But you don't contest that that might have been a text you sent?
I do contest it.
I can share a copy of that text if you'd like. It just might take a minute. I'm sorry, I thought I had it emailed to myself already.
Okay.
When was the date on this supposed
Would have been
text?
February 23rd or 24th, I believe. February 24th. I'm sorry for taking up the time to do this.
No, you can look and see if you can find it. I will look and see if I can find it. And this is a text that I sent?
Correct, yes.
Oh, we get text messages.
And what was the text that I sent to Corey?
I mean, I can read it if you'd like. I'm trying to email it to myself to screen share it. But it was on Friday, February 24th at 7:38 p.m.
We've already established these texts in our show cause hearing. Why is that being brought up?
This was a date after the show cause hearing. The show cause hearing was on February 16th.
Okay. And what are you going to read? I'm curious because I'm not.
It's a text message from you on February 24th. You testified earlier that you have followed the modified order to a T, and you're claiming that you were denied a visit on February 25th, the first visit after the show cause hearing. The purpose of what I'm trying to show you, this text message, is to show that you were requesting Ms. Raina to bring the children to you, which is contrary to what was put in the order following the parenting time show cause hearing.
I don't recall, but.
Can I share my screen?
Sure.
Thank you.
Please.
Okay, can you see this screenshot?
Okay.
Okay, and I don't know if I need my client to take testimony to verify this is a true and accurate representation of the message that she received. But this is your name at the top. This is a text message sent from you, because you're in gray since it's from my client's side, saying, just called to see if you are bringing our girls to my house in the morning.
Wait, does her photo icon for him in her phone say, I do, I don't, I'm done? I think so. That pretty much sums it up. Bravo.
For my visit, 10 a.m.
Okay.
And then on the 25th, you said it is now 10:21 a.m. My visit is supposed to be at my house from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. You are not here. I tried to call you, etc. Point being that, well, I guess let me back up. Do you deny having sent these two messages?
No, because the new court order that was modified wasn't sent yet. So to my knowledge, the current one at that moment was still in place. The referee didn't give a time frame when that was supposed to start. And I didn't have any documentation. So the only thing I had was the court order previously.
Your Honor, I would move to admit this as an exhibit. I can email it to the court.
All right, this will be admitted as plaintiff's exhibit 1.
Okay, thank you. And I would just like the record to reflect that the findings were stated on the record on the date of the hearing, February 16th, 2023, and the order was mailed out on February 23rd.
The
And
court,
as-
the court will take notice of the events of the hearing conducted by the court. Thank you.
So then your next visit would have been on March 11th, 2023, correct?
I believe so.
Okay. And do you recall Raylan getting scratched by a dog at your home during that visit?
I don't.
You don't recall my client texting you asking if the dog was up to date on shots?
I don't.
You don't recall saying that you'll get back to her on the status of the vaccinations for the dog?
February or March 11th. I don't recall it.
He's a jerk off.
Okay.
Oh. He has man
The next
boobs,
visit
too.
would have been then the March 25th visit, which we're obviously contesting. Or have had testimony from you saying that it didn't happen. It was denied because of the weather. Do you not recall, though, that Ms. Rainha offered you a makeup date as she was hesitant to let the children leave?
The makeup wasn't about the makeup being contested. It was her reasoning for it.
But you don't contest that she did offer you a makeup date.
It wasn't, that's not in question. It's her reasoning for it.
Thank
She
you.
hadn't been out.
Thank you. And then I believe you and Ms. Rainha signed a document to agree to switch the weekend so that your parenting time with Raylan and Mariah would be the same as your parenting time with Savannah, correct?
Finally, no, actually it was not. It was just, to my knowledge, for the one visit so that they could spend time together. But she failed to let me have the visit, so it wasn't signed right away. And it should have been noted that this was to get my parenting time on track with the same parenting time, so it's not every other weekend. So that all three girls could spend time with me and I could spend time with all three of them and they could spend time together. She failed.
That was my question. You guys entered into a signed writing to have your parenting time with Raylan and Mariah be the same weekends that you have parenting time with Savannah.
That was for the one day. It didn't state for current or future, and she didn't show up for the parenting time, so she denied it. So again,
Sir, she's not supposed to show up for parenting time. You're responsible for transportation.
Yes.
you're right.
Correct.
And I did
Okay.
show up. I did show up for the visit.
Yes, he has man boobs, Kitty.
She did not let them go. She denied the
Right,
visit.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So after
I'm sorry, could I get a date on that one?
my understanding is that
Ooh.
the severe weather visit was on March 25th. On March 23rd, they had a conversation to switch the visits so that Mr. Rainha's
We know someone with moves. Right, Harold?
parenting time on the weekend would be the same. That started on April 1st.
Thank
So it's-
you.
Thank you. And then your next visit was on April 15th.
I believe so.
Okay, and then you had a makeup visit on April 22nd.
No. I made arrangements with Miss Spalding to let me have my makeup time with her so that we could all meet together. And she failed to show up. Miss Spalding made the trip to the mall in the bad weather. And Miss Raina denied that. So
I haven't asked anything about Miss Spalding making up parenting time. The question was specific to this case of a makeup visit with Raylan and Mariah. But if you're denying that you had a makeup visit on April 22nd, that's fine. I just need to know if that's your answer.
I have to look. I don't,
Oh,
unless you can provide a text or something that shows that, I have to look. I document my stuff in text. I take pictures. And
So
what
you're
was your
saying
date?
April 22nd.
I still love Yvonne. This guy swings his moves around, though.
There wasn't no April 22nd visit. In fact, I can show you what I have. I have an April 15th.
If you don't think you had a visit on the 22nd, that's again, fine. I'm just wanting to know if that's your answer.
I'm going to read you the dates. April 15th. Second. April 18th. April 29th. Those are the visits that I had within April.
Do you mean April 15th, not the 18th?
I'm showing pictures on the 18th. That was Savannah. Sorry, that was with Savannah. So it would be April 15th and April 29th. This is the pictures that I have with Savannah and Mariah and Raylan and my hairstylist.
His
Okay.
hairstyle.
So there was no visit on the 22nd.
Okay.
I'm so glad I didn't listen to all of this. What did he say? His hairstylist? Looks like he gets a haircut at Walmart. My hairstylist. I can't.
And then the next visit would have been this past Saturday, May 13th, 2023, correct? Which your friend was denied.
Yes.
Okay, I believe you testified earlier about some text messages between you and Ms. Raina, where she sent you a message saying you're more than welcome to have your visit if you can bring another driver. And in response to that, you sent some messages. Do you recall testifying to that effect?
Floby.
I did, and I showed back up and they were not present. They left.
If I may share my screen again.
Granted.
Thank you. Can you see this text message with Saturday?
How do we have 10% of you would procreate with this guy? I would love to know who voted yes. I hope it was a joke.
1029 at the top.
I cannot.
Well,
Hold on.
How about now?
You guys will just never let me get 100%. Never. Just never let me get 100%. Ever.
Okay, yes.
You suck.
Okay. So I believe you gave testimony after Ms. Raina sent you this first message, what I just stated.
Oh,
But-
daylight.
I don't see any additional messages here.
What?
That you were like leaving and coming back or something to that effect.
Yeah, definitely.
Those text messages.
He's probably deleted them, but I do have those in my text message that are still in my phone.
Would you mind possibly emailing those so we can compare the two?
Yeah, let me. I can print them out and make sure that you get a copy of them as well as the court.
Is it just for the interest of time? I think it might be helpful to have them today. Are you able to email them?
Yeah, give me just a moment. Let me. Okay, what's your question again?
If you have additional text messages from the 13th, this past Saturday, between the first two messages from Ms. Raina, which you testified to.
Gotta check with his hairstylist. God. Go to a barber.
Just a moment. Let me. Because clearly you didn't see what I typed. So objection. But irregardless, what's the relevancy to this? The dog didn't bite her, he scratched her.
Okay.
And it's not likely
Then
that
you denied, I believe, saying that
Four
you'd
people said
figure
yes.
out whether or not the dog had all of its shots, correct?
so stop putting words in my mouth that I didn't say I denied.
Or you didn't recall? I'm sorry.
Exactly.
Okay.
So objection to the question, because clearly you didn't see what I typed. so objection.
Sustained.
Okay. Well, I would still move to admit these three messages as plaintiff's exhibit 2, I believe.
Mr. Reyna, objection?
No,
All right, so plaintiff's exhibit 2 is admitted. What was the date on those? March 12th?
Correct.
Thank you.
And they were emailed to,
that has nothing to do with this case. He's the driver. So again, I followed the court order to the letter of the law. Her prior whatever with him has
sir,
nothing.
the question was whether or not you feel like it's concerning to
No.
have that kind of person as a driver when your kids.
I object to this question. It's not relevant. Any
I
prior with her and him have nothing to do with this case. None. So objection.
I believe the criminal history that is this recent as it involves stalking minor children.
To the extent there's a disagreement over between the parties over whether or not Ms. Reyna had a good faith reason to deny parenting time if it involved Mr. Mazur. The court finds it relevant. We'll overrule the objection. Your objection is preserved for the record if you choose to appeal this court's decision. Go ahead, Ms. Neros.
Ooh,
Thank you.
Pac-Man.
You testified when the court asked if there's anything else you would like them to know with respect to your motion. And you responded by saying something to the effect that there's no reason why you shouldn't have more time, correct?
Yes,
Do you believe that you are capable of adhering to the children's medical needs?
absolutely.
Do you recall Ms. Reyna informing you on or about March 6th, I believe, reminding you, I should say, of Raylan's lactose condition?
I don't.
Would you
And
like me to share?
It's not been proven. She hasn't given me any documentation from a doctor. So it's hearsay. So objection.
Okay, the question was if you recalled Ms. Reyna reminding you about lactose conditions.
It's hearsay. I have no doubt.
It's being offered. It's not being offered to prove that the child actually has a lactose condition, merely that Ms. Reyna raised that issue in a communication with Mr. Reyna. So the court will overrule the objection on that basis.
Thank you. If I may again, I'm sorry, share my screen.
Granted.
So what I'm sharing here is a text message. Again, Ms. Reyna is in blue on the right side. Mr. Reyna is on the left, or the included exhibit. These two messages, proposed number 13, moving to admit as number 3.
All right, Mr. Reyna, objections?
No.
Right.
If it's an icy, so no, objection.
Okay, well, is this a milkshake? Or do you not recall?
It's not a milkshake.
What is it?
They don't put milkshakes in those kind of cups. So it's a soft drink.
Okay, what soft drink?
She likes Sprite.
Okay. So you're denying that this is a milkshake.
Unless you have concrete proof that's a milkshake, I don't. It's a Sprite. That's what they drink.
Okay. So you're denying purchasing Raylan a milkshake on March 11th.
It's a soda. It's a soft drink, is what I can see.
Okay.
To my knowledge, the only one that had a milkshake was Savannah that day. Unless you can show otherwise.
Okay, thank you. You answered the question. Have you ever been to any of the children's doctor visits?
His milkshake drink.
No, because I haven't been updated on those at all.
So you would deny that Ms. Reyna informs you about doctor's appointments and things like that?
He doesn't keep me apprised of all that. It's in our court order. That's why also we're here.
Okay, a simple yes or no would do just fine, Mr. Reyna.
I'm sorry, what was your question again?
I was just stating that a simple yes or no would do just fine in responding to the questions.
What's your question?
There wasn't one. It was just to follow up with how you responded to my last question. And I'm sorry, jumping back to the beginning of your testimony, you said that you are 2 or 3 weeks behind on rent.
Within that, yes, due
Okay,
to the,
thank you. And it's a month to month, correct?
at the moment it is until I renegotiate a new lease.
Okay. And so I'm clear, you've denied ever being fired from Crested Creations.
No, you asked if I was fired. I'm not fired. I am currently employed at Crested Creations, so no. What is that? What's the relevancy to that? I'm employed by Crested Creations. You want to see my check stub? There's
Your
no,
Honor, I believe I asked if he was ever fired. If the record reflects otherwise, I do apologize, but I'm just trying to get some straight answers here.
what does me previously being fired have anything to do with this case right now? Nothing. So no,
The record will reflect that Mr. Reyna was asked if he'd ever been fired from Crusted Creations, and he said no.
And
That's what's in the court's notes.
thank you. And the purpose would be to establish stability of income, which is a consideration. How long ago were you fired, Mr. Reyna?
3 years ago?
So not in the last 2 or 3 months?
No.
Okay. Were you ever terminated from Subway at any time?
I was terminated about approximately 10 years ago.
Okay.
He definitely got fired for putting like the roll down his pants or at rude customers. Definitely. Or like licking the bread. He's that kind of guy. Definitely. Spitting in the lettuce. He's awful. Now, how annoying would this
On a
be?
visit with my
if you
two
didn't
little
get an
ones,
edit?
Mariah and Rayla.
Once, yes.
Have you ever been with me when my parenting time was denied by Mrs. Rain?
I believe once, yes.
Do you feel I'm
Okay, so what had happened now is I missed a little bit, but now this is Mrs. Spaulding on the phone, and this is the ex-wife has a daughter with him, and he's I don't know if he's cross-examining her. I don't know how much I missed, but the beginning wasn't that. It was just the introduction.
a threat to you, Mrs. McQueer?
Oh, this is
No.
Miss McQueer. I'm sorry.
Or to my kids. No.
When you are with me and my two girls, Mariah and Raylan, for my visitation, did you ever think or feel my girls were scared or afraid of me during my visitation?
I'm sorry. This isn't the ex-wife. There's just so much going on with this. This is, I think, CPS worker.
No, I do not think that.
And how many visits would you say you've been present for?
At least once or twice, yeah.
And as far as any of my other children, how many other visits have you been present for?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again?
With any of my other children, how many visits have you been present for?
I know with Savannah, I've been with quite a bit. I couldn't tell you how many though, but Savannah loves you, so.
Ms. McQueer?
Yeah, it's hard to hear you. I'm sorry.
And in any of the visitations with your sisters, Mariah, Raylan, or Savannah, what was your observation? What did you observe?
Nothing, really nothing bad, obviously. I mean, you fed them and they always have clothes on. I can see that they love you very much.
And how many children do you have, Ms. McQueer?
I have 2 children.
And what is your observation when I'm present with your children?
Awesome. I know Raven, she runs up to you and hugs you all the time. They just love you. They talk about you all the time. They don't show any fear or anything when they're around you.
Very good. And is there any concerns or issues you would have with me spending time with your children or Mariah, Raylan, or Savannah?
Oh, God, no. I would let you watch my children if it came down to it.
Very good.
I
And how
trust you completely.
and how often do we communicate? Would you say approximately how long, or how many?
I feel pretty often. I try to always text and call, make sure you and the girls are always good, and the girls always ask to talk to you.
Eldest
And
daughter.
do you make any contact with Savannah?
Yeah, I text her,
And how often are
especially
you?
when she's with you.
And how often are you in communication with Savannah?
I would say mainly during the weekend because I work normally Monday through Friday, but normally during the weekends. Sometimes I'll come over and visit you guys.
Okay, thank you. No further questions at the moment, Ms. McQueer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Narrows, do you have any questions?
Just a few, please.
Yes.
Ms. McQueer, the one visit that you were present for when Mariah and Raylan were present, was that in May of 2022?
Oh God, I don't even remember. I know that their grandma was present at
No,
that
it's not,
one.
Basia.
So did you know that?
I was mistaken. This is the eldest daughter of his, who's 27. So that's Pop Pop. A lot of moving parts here, and I was trying to work at the same time. I'm watching a lot of this with you for the first time.
That their grandma was present because the visits were still supervised?
Yes.
Okay. You testified that you don't believe Mr. Rainier to be a threat to you or your children, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Didn't you though kind of go on a 3-year, I guess, a hiatus from seeing Mr. Rainier because you didn't want him around you or your children?
Yes, because he was with Corey and I didn't think that they should be near my children at the time.
But so you, at one point, did not feel comfortable being around Mr. Rainier?
Yes, that was like years ago though. I totally feel I
You
trust
answered the
him.
question. Thank you. Those are the only questions I have.
Okay.
Mr. Reyna, did you have any more questions?
Yes. And Ms. McQueer, why was it that you didn't feel comfortable with me or Miss Reyna to be around you or your children?
I don't really know, I guess. I was with AJ at the time and we just felt like because they didn't really see you much.
And do you regularly communicate with Corey Reyna?
No. Mm-mm.
And can you explain why you don't communicate with Corey Reyna?
We are just not close. I just don't talk to her. She's not really, part of our lives. So
And how long has that been, would you say, approximately?
Before you guys got divorced.
No more further questions. Thank you, Ms. McQueer.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Narrows?
I'm okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McQueer, for your time today. You're excused. You can go ahead and log off.
Okay, thank you.
She's the worst witness. It just gets way better.
Okay, Mr. Reyna, you can have your next witness log on if you'd like.
Oh boy.
Okay, just a moment.
I think the best witness has to be the ex-wife because they start going at it. Oh, Amanda, I feel that there's a lot of eligible guys in this chat. I mean, look who he's getting, though. You don't have a hairstylist, Amanda. That's why. He has a hairstylist. He's
Again,
gonna have
616
646
6
It's recording him is
can
gold.
Start with your questions.
Okay, here
Miss
we go.
Garcia, have you ever been with me on a visit with my two little ones, Mariah or Raylan?
Yes.
Have you ever been with me when my parenting time was denied by Miss Reyna?
Yes.
Do you feel I'm a threat to you, Mrs. Garcia?
No.
When you are with me and my two little ones, Mariah and Raylan, for my visitation, did you ever think or feel that my girls were scared or afraid of me during my visitation?
No.
And in your observation and you being present in my visitations with my girls, what did you observe?
They were happy. They got along really good.
And moving forward, do you see any reason or any concerns or issues that there would be with visitation with Mariah or Raylan on my
No.
part? Thank you. No further questions at the moment. Thank you, Ms. Garcia.
Ms. Nearest, do you have any questions?
Yes, please.
Oh,
Ms. Garcia, do you recall how many visits you were present with Mr. Raina, Raylan, and Mariah?
There, I actually sat in just one, but
Just
I see
one?
just one, but I've seen him with his girls other times.
You've been present for visits with Mr. Raina and his other daughter, Savannah, correct?
Yep.
And during those visits, do you recall Mr. Rainier requiring Savannah to leave her phone at home?
No.
So it's incorrect to say that sometime in January 2022, Mr. Rainier required Savannah to leave her phone at home while you all went to Gaylord?
where?
Objection.
Did I hear something else?
Can I ask what the objection is?
What's the objection?
What relevancy does that have to do with this? The phone isn't a requirement of my court order, so it's irrelevant to this case. And what does it have to do with this case?
Your conduct during parenting time with your children?
Again, it has.
I mean, what's the relevance of defendant asking his child to leave her phone at home during a visit with him in January of 2022? What's the relevance of that?
Just to show that he's engages in deceptive behaviors and conduct.
Okay, I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Okay. Ms. Garcia, have you had any involvement with CPS?
Yep.
And you've currently faced a petition to have your children removed?
Yep.
Okay,
Oh, see? Shady.
those are all my questions. Thank you.
Mr. Reyna, did you have any more questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for your time today, Ms. Garcia. You're excused. You can go ahead and log off.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Reyna, you can have your next witness log in.
Next. I think he actually stopped it on this. Oh, yep. See?
No, I have not.
And why is that?
Because when we were hanging out, you couldn't see him.
And do you know why that is?
All I can tell you is what I heard from you. You went out there to get them. They wasn't at home. She wouldn't let you have them, as far as I know.
And she is.
Your wife or your ex-wife?
Have you ever been with me with my parenting time was denied by Miss Reyna?
No, I have not.
Do you feel I'm a threat to you?
No.
Have you ever been present for any visitation with any of my other children?
Yes, I have.
And which one were you present for?
Savannah.
And in your observation in the presence of my visitation with Savannah, what did you observe?
You're a good dad. We had a lot of fun. We went places. I mean,
And-
we've been to Niagara. I mean, we've been up to Colin Falls with. I mean, you guys went up there. We been down to Traverse City with you. We went there
And when you
and
are
Petoskey up.
Okay.
Yeah.
when you are with me, or when you were with me on my visitations with Savannah, did you ever think or feel that Savannah was scared or afraid with me during my visitation?
No.
And you have children, and you have kids, and you have grandchildren, correct?
I have 23 grandchildren, 5 great grandchildren, and 10 kids. Yes.
Are these
And if
people?
I-
Are these people or rabbits? Oh my God! 7 kids, 23 grandkids. Oh my God! These porkers get around.
Ever been present for any time with your kids or your grandchildren?
Yes, you have.
And what was your observation?
You were great. We all had fun, and
At the moment or moving forward, is any concerns, issues, safety, or anything that you should be concerned with me spending any time with your children, my children, or your grandchildren, or my grandchildren?
no, I'd leave my I mean, I would leave my grandkids with you. My kids are too old for it, but
Okay, very well, thank you. No more further questions at the moment. Thank you, Ms. Hershaw.
Ms. Naros, do you have any questions?
Just a few, please. Ms. Hersha, for the times you were present for some parenting time of Mr. Rainia's, were you ever at his home?
no, I had not.
So you don't know what the conditions of his home is like or anything?
Yeah, he's called me on video chat and he's walked me through his house. It's very nice. My daughter's been to his house and she said it was very nice.
That's okay. I can't have you testify to what someone else said, but
Okay.
thank you for the video part of it. In your observations with Mr. Rainia, with his children and your children, you've described him as good and fun. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Any structure that you've witnessed with the parenting?
I mean, when he said no, he meant no. I mean, but because we've been like at the store or something and the kids all want something. And if we didn't have it, he'd say, hey guys, we just don't have the money for it. Or it's bedtime. All the kids, we need to get you guys to sleep, and they'd all go to bed.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Raina, do you have any more questions?
No further questions. Thank you, Ms. Hershaw.
Thank you for your time today. And Mr. Raina, did you want Mr. Hersha to also testify?
Absolutely.
So Mr. Hersha, could you hand the device over?
I'm going to have to just turn you to him because he is driving.
Was there, could you pull off the road for a minute or two?
Yep, let us get through the stoplight.
Okay, all right.
Sorry, I'm on my way to a doctor's appointment.
No, that's okay. I knew that everybody might be partaking in their everyday routine. So I did let the referee know that. So in fact, I messaged everybody or called them when it was time to have them present. So just so that nobody was waiting in the waiting room.
I couldn't get through. I mean, I sat there on my phone and then I got through on Chet's phone. Here he is.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Mr. Hersha, is now a good time?
Yeah.
All right. And what is your full first name?
Chester, Chester.
Okay, thank
Close.
you, Mr. Hersha. So you've been called to testify. I'll swear you in now. So if you would please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Lower your hand. And Mr. Reyna, you can ask your questions.
Mr. Hershaw, have you ever been with me on a visit with my two little ones, Mariah and Raylan?
Not in person, no.
And can I ask why that is?
You always tried to get them, but you're unsuccessful in able to get them.
What?
Have you ever been with me when my parenting time was denied by Miss Reyna?
Not in person, no, sir.
Do you feel I'm a threat to you, Mr. Hershaw?
No.
Have you ever spent any time with any of my children, Mr. Hershaw?
Yes, I have.
And can you state which one you spent time?
Savannah.
And in your observation of our spending time together, what have you observed?
And we always had fun, and you're always positive around her and all the other kids.
And you have kids and grandkids and such, correct?
Yes, sir.
And have I ever spent any time with your kids' grandchildren?
Yep. Yes, sir.
And what did you observe in my time with visitation with your grandkids?
You're always positive with them, and they enjoyed being around you, and
They adore him.
they liked you, and they thought you were fun.
Okay. And you've been present with my visitations with Savannah, correct?
Yes, I have.
And when you were with me in Savannah during my visitation, did you ever think or feel that Savannah was scared or afraid of me during my visitation?
Oh no, she adored you and loved you and just loved being with you.
Yeah. And moving forward, do you see any concerns or issue, whether it's safety or anything else that you should be concerned with?
No, I would let you around my kids anytime, and I'm a very big advocate about dads and mothers being with their children.
Thank you, Mr. Hershaw. No further questions at the moment.
Ms. Narrows, do you have any questions?
I don't believe so, Your Honor, but I would like to either move to strike or just have it reflect on the record that Mr. Hershaw wasn't a properly disclosed witness.
All right, so I'm gonna deny the request to strike. I mean, I understand that Mr. Reyna is not represented by counsel. He's not an attorney. He's filed witness and exhibit lists in due course to the extent that Mr. Hershaw was not disclosed. The court does not find that to be so prejudicial that it requires that his testimony be stricken today. So for those reasons, the request will be denied. Mr. Hershaw, thank you for your time today. You can go ahead and log off.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
So, Mr. Reyna, did you want to try and get a hold of another witness, or did you want to kind of move into your testimony at this point? And
Let's kind of move into my testimony. I've reached out to my witnesses, and the ones that needed to have testified. So,
all right, one moment.
thank
He
you.
relishes this moment.
All right, Mr. Reyna, if you would please raise your right hand to be sworn.
Oh,
Do you swear or
boy.
affirm that the testimony you are about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I think you can lower your hand. All right, so. Do you have housing?
I do. I don't.
Okay. What do you have for housing?
I have a 3-bedroom home,
A van down by the
and
river.
it's got 2 bathrooms, and I'm waiting for my landlord to fix the bathtub.
Okay, and is the address for that residence, did you list that on your motion?
It is. The court is well aware of it. The friend of the court's well aware of it. Mrs. Reyna is well aware of it. She's been present for it and inspected it.
Okay. When did you start living there?
I've been here over a year.
Do you have a lease?
I do. And that's been presented to the court, friend of the court as well, and family court.
And is there any one else's name on the lease besides your own?
No, just mine.
And what's the okay. So you did submit a copy of the lease. Are you asking that for that to be admitted into evidence?
Yes.
All right, Ms. Nero, any objection?
I guess just to preserve it, that I haven't been provided a copy with, excuse me, of it. I guess the court can take notice as it sees fit.
All right, that objection is preserved. Otherwise, the court will receive the lease agreement. It's 2 pages long. It purports to have been signed by Mr. Reyna on April 9th, 2022. And it was also countersigned by somebody purporting to be a landlord, Clark Klaus, on April 9th, 2022. All right, so this will be defendants A. All right, so what's the status of the lease, Mr. Reyna? Has that run out, or what's going on with it?
I'm going to renegotiate my lease to get an extended lease with my landlord. He needs to fix some things that need to be fixed, so I will be talking with him to get that done. But for now, it's month to month until I can have that extended or renewed.
Right, because the lease ran out. It was a 1-year lease and it ended on April 9th, 2023, right?
Right. We didn't really talk about a time frame other than he doesn't like to just keep running out to different people. And I needed to put a date on there per my other court order with my other co-parent. So I had to put a date in there. We didn't really discuss a term. So, but right now it's month to month. I am looking at possibly relocating depending on with everything. So.
And what is your well, one moment. What is your rent amount?
It is $1,000 a month.
And are you current?
I wish.
All but 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But that's pending him and fixing the bathtub. I have a second bathroom that the bathroom can be used, but the bathtub cannot. So it's basically just a month to month at the moment, which normally he doesn't do leases. He made an exception for me because of my situation with my court proceedings.
Okay.
Oh my God.
All right. And do you have a job?
I do.
Okay. What do you do for your job?
I work at CrossFit Creations Pizza.
Okay. And do you have a set schedule?
I do.
And what is that?
Right now it's Monday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and it's
Okay, I'm sorry, one moment. Monday night, Thursday night,
Friday night, Saturday night. And I will be getting more hours. I spoke with my employer. We're gonna give me more hours so I can work more and be able to support myself and my children.
And so what are the night shifts? What are those hours?
It varies. Usually the day shift starts about 10:30, and it goes to about 3 or 4. I'm looking at possibly changing my schedule around to where I'm able to work Monday through Friday during the day, so it doesn't create an issue with any of my parenting time.
And the more hours that you're talking with your employer about getting, do you know when those hours would be, or are you not sure?
He did tell me I could work on Wednesday, and we were going to sit down and go over a schedule because I would like to have at least 2 days off a week, and I would like to work days so that I'm able to meet my obligation with my children, all of them. So it'll be a Monday through Friday from about 10:30 in the morning to about 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Probably 3, and then have Saturday and Sundays off. I already have Sunday off, so.
All right, and then at this point, when you need transportation, are you relying on Mr. Mazer for that?
Not all of it. He's been very helpful with his time that he's able to help me with transportation. My son helps me with transportation. My daughter helps me with transportation. Sometimes I do take the public transportation for work. A lot of times I ride my mountain bike to and from work or where I have to go. Other than the pickup and drop off of my children, I'm usually on public transportation or riding my bike. My fiance also does come up. So when she's here, she helps me get to where I need to go. I do have a 2020 Ford Fusion for a vehicle that's in my name.
So proud of that. He said that like 3 times already.
I don't drive, but she drives it.
Okay, and that's Miss Phillips?
Yes.
And what is the status of your license restoration?
I am waiting 2 more letters. They are requiring at least 6 to 8 letters. I have a drug and alcohol assessment that I have to also schedule, and some of the things are time sensitive. I've gotten 5 of the letters that I needed, and I apparently need to go back to the court to have my criminal history, if there's any that pertains to my driving record, be present for my alcohol assessment before that can be granted. Once I can get that documentation from the court, which I will be doing today, I will schedule my drug and alcohol assessment. And it's common knowledge. There's a list of things that need to be done in order to restore my license.
He's definitely not the delivery guy.
Okay, and in your case with Miss Spalding.
Oh, Miss Spalding.
Okay.
And she's been present. She's had to, in my court order with her.
Okay, so let me just want to try and I'm looking at the order right now. One moment.
Bad back. I agree. It amazes me. He's perfectly content with being an absolute loser. And douchey about it also.
I guess let me just ask you this. Have you and Miss Spalding been disagreeing on parenting time?
No, we've been, we went back to court and we came up with a agreement. And it states that in order to have my parenting time reinstated, I have to have a housing that's suitable. Miss Spalding has to come and inspect it. And I have to have, they would like it to have a lease with my name or a mortgage with my name on it. Miss Spalding was here twice to inspect it. She approved of it, signed off on it, and I get my daughter regularly I get her every Tuesday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. and every other weekend, Friday at 4 p.m. till Sunday at 4 p.m. Pick up and drop off are at the Grand Traverse Mall.
And can you give me the approximate, I mean, not the exact dates if you don't know, but the approximate dates for the 2 times that Miss Spalding came out to inspect?
Let me look actually.
Okay.
It was shortly after. I have to go through a bunch of text. Second. I do know that it was, I would say right about a week after I moved in, within the week after I moved in, because it had to be done for me to get my parenting time reinstated. So hold on and I would say within April 15th, right around that week.
Of what year?
Of the last year, 22.
Okay.
It was right after I signed my lease. I gave her a copy of it. And let me see if I can actually pull the.
That's okay. That's good enough for the court at this point. So April 2022, and then when roughly was the second time?
Would have been the summer. That would have been, I believe, in June or July
of 2022.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look to be give you an actual date.
Your Honor, can I just ask what court order we're talking about in the Spalding case that he had to show proof of an address or something?
This was a referee recommendation and order entered on March 31st, 2022.
Thank you.
And Miss Raina has inspected my house.
Okay, so well, let me so when did Miss Raina inspect your house?
Right around my first visit that took place here would have been May of 2021, if I recall. I have that in a picture. Apparently her mother took pictures without.
Sorry, do you mean May of 2022?
Yes.
Okay, all right, one moment.
And even though it wasn't stated that I had to let her inspect, I did. I have nothing to hide.
Right. And so, I mean, other than when, those times that Miss Phillips is there, is there anybody that is spending substantial amounts of time at your residence or that lives there with you?
No, it's just solely me now. My son was here with my grandson, so I would see them every day, but he now has his own apartment. And sure enough, I looked in my mailbox. I opened what was a check from MIDSU in the amount of $495. So between both of my employers at the time and my tax return, it was all caught up. Arrearages are caught up, paid up. So I am current on all my child support. And I receive a $495 check.
And so, as far as all of your child support, do you have 2 different child support cases?
I do. I have one with Corey Raina, and I have one with Sarah Spalding.
And are you current on both of those?
I am. Other than, I think they're going to, I believe, charge my account this week, if they haven't already. But everything's current.
The March 31st, 2022 referee order provides that Tina Garcia must not be present during any of your parenting time. Has Miss Garcia been present for any of your parenting time since that order was entered last year in March?
Not with Savannah. It only pertains to Savannah. Me and Miss Garcia are still friends. We still talk. She's moving forward with her life. I'm moving forward with my life. She is also engaged. But we still communicate just because of our friendship.
And well, one moment.
Mhm.
All right. So there is about an hour and a half so left. I am going to show part 2 tomorrow. The best is yet to come. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. Ex-wife hasn't even spoken yet, and we get to see his apartment. Oh boy. All right, kitchen court cases is up next. Make sure to never go to bed angry. Kiss your loved ones. God bless. I will see you tomorrow. And remember, I'm Phil, and you've been what? Sir.